Hello, I'm Ben Tindall, and I want to welcome you to the new FB Solutions podcast. This podcast is made available through Farm Bureau Solutions and is sponsored by the Washington State Farm Bureau. Farm Bureau Solutions provides an array of educational and consultation services for agricultural businesses so they are equipped to handle ongoing challenges, increase their profits, and identify new opportunities for growth. This podcast is intended to share HR best practices and law updates for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be legal advice. Should you need legal advice on any HR situation, please reach out to us. We may be able to connect you with an employment law attorney. I want to thank you for listening to the new FB Solutions podcast. Our guest has been Rick Gastelum. Rick is the CFO and business manager for the Washington Farm Bureau. Rick has also played a key role in the development of Farm Bureau Solutions. This is part 2 of our 3-part conversation with Rick. In the previous episode, Rick shared the how and why behind Farm Bureau Solutions, and in this episode, we'll hear more regarding the what. Rick shares with us specific resources and tools that are made available through Farm Bureau Solutions. So, let's continue that conversation. Rick, building off of the background and focus that you outlined for us, what resources are available through Farm Bureau Solutions, both currently at this point and projected in the near future that you can tell us about?
Yeah, totally. So I think what would be helpful is if I can share, we've sort of stair-stepped the release of this whole Farm Bureau Solutions service and brand. 3 years ago, we started piloting and built what we call these Ag HR boot camps.
Yes.
Okay. And I got together with an attorney, an employment law attorney that I knew, and another third-party human resources expert that had been consulting with the ag industry in Washington for a couple of decades. And the three of us got together and we built the very first piloted Ag HR boot camp. And what we said was, you know what? A lot of employers have the opportunity to attend webinars and go to some of these conferences and conventions, and they get bite-sized pieces of information, or they get information on HR stuff that's really at the 30,000 level view. In order to really understand HR, you need to get in it. You need to talk about scenarios, and let's test how well people will do in sort of a boot camp style, meaning one day, a lot of information, scenario driven, where people can talk openly and honestly amongst each others without the fear of government coming down and hammering them, and having them share, and then let's share best practices with them and interpretations of these laws. And so we started with our first HR boot camp back 3 years ago. And then it developed into, we got a grant a couple of years back through the United States Department of Agriculture's risk management program. And we got a grant to formally develop and deliver our Ag HR Boot Camp 1 and Boot Camp 2.
Excellent.
And Ag HR Boot Camp 1, what that ended up rolling into was that's sort of what we'll call level 1 of human resources understanding. So what we tried to do in Ag HR Boot Camp 1, it's called recruitment, selection, and employment issues or labor laws related to employing the workers. So what we do in that day and a half boot camp is we basically say, what are all the labor laws, state and federally, you need to consider before you even hire a worker? And then what are best practices you can be putting into place to recruit workers? What are the things you need to consider during the application process, the interview process, what hiring documentation is required? Why should you create job descriptions? What does a good job description look like? All the way up through discrimination issues that you may come across, and things you need to consider when you're hiring workers. So that was sort of Ag HR Boot Camp 1. Then we said, okay, now that we've taught them about all of that stuff that they need to know when they're hiring people, once they get them hired, what do they do with them?
Sure.
Then came the idea of Ag HR Boot Camp 2. Now that you have this workforce, what I have identified over the years, and many consultants have, is it's not so much that you don't have the workers or you can't get the workers in the door. It's about retaining and keeping good employees. And that relates to the leadership of the company, the culture of the company, and how are you treating those workers. So what Ag HR Bootcamp 2 focuses in on is how do you manage, coach, and lead those workers so they can help you have a good, profitable, successful business. And then for those, we call them drama employees, how do you legally coach them along to either see improvement or remove them from the workplace so you don't get in trouble. So that's what Ag HR Bootcamp 2 covers. So we've got the Bootcamp series that we've been working. We also, soon to come out, we are currently working on a Farm Bureau Solutions Labor Management Solutions newsletter that we're hoping to get out here in April. It'll be about every 2 months we're going to issue it, but we're going to have topics on leadership, discrimination. We'll have a legal corner where our attorney is sharing what is sort of the latest, greatest legal interpretation, laws and rule issues that are going on. We'll have something from our legislative division that says, hey, here's what's currently going on at the state and federal legislation related to labor laws and things you need to watch out for. And then we'll be sharing best practices, interpretations, and we hope that will help keep people current and informed and picking out what are those pages out of those thousands of pages and stuff you need to pay attention to today, or things that have maybe there's been some poor information out there and we want to help try and clarify that. So we'll have the newsletter going out. We've been producing our Farm Bureau Solutions emails. So those electronic communications are coming out, especially right now with the COVID-19 stuff going on.
Sure.
Gosh, I think we're putting out 1, 2, or 3 Farm Bureau Solution emails per week, just because the information is sometimes changing hourly.
Absolutely.
And we want to make sure the ag industry is well informed. In about a year, our hope is this will roll into a third-party HR consultation service where members can sign up and they will have access to a professional team, a professional network of quality ag HR experts, people that actually know ag. You know, not to say there's not a lot of HR experts out there, but agriculture in itself is its own animal.
Sure.
And sometimes you need people that have either grown up in the industry, live in the industry, and truly understand the industry to be able to help you navigate all of those different scenarios. So we're hoping that service will come available. And then lastly, it'll be supported by an online ag HR library website. But basically, it would be a third-party service that our small, medium, and even our large-size business, if they want to subscribe to, can.
So you had these 2 HR boot camps that have been going on for the past couple of years. What are you hearing from some of the people who've attended these boot camps? What's the response you've received?
You know, it's kind of funny because we sit in these boot camps and HR is like that elephant in the room that sometimes people don't always want to have to talk about. And so as we're presenting the information and people attend these boot camps, we're just getting a lot of aha moments, you know, or affirmation of thank you for confirming what I already understood, or thank you for clarifying something that I was told years ago, or maybe I misunderstood. And they're really appreciative of the scenarios that we talk about and them being able to share their own stories. And so people are just saying they really appreciate sort of that in your face, let's wrestle it over and talk about all the what ifs that potentially could come up. And people are hungry for more. Over the last 2 years, we've had about 300 plus people attend our boot camps. The most recent ones just happened here early in 2020, and we're looking to schedule more. So people are definitely wanting more of them. And they've given us ideas. We do pre-surveys and post-surveys, so we measure their knowledge gained, and then they also are giving us feedback. Hey, here's other topics we want to see you guys deliver later.
Wow, what amazing resources this offers. Well, that wraps this up for part 2 of our 3-part conversation with Rick. I encourage you to listen to our next episode as we talk about how you can get involved and engage with Farm Bureau Solutions. You don't want to miss that. In the meantime, if you would like more information on Farm Bureau Solutions, I encourage you to visit our website at www.wsfb.com/farm-bureau-solutions. With that, I want to thank you for listening to the FB Solutions podcast, and we look forward to talking again soon.